interested to know what this project means to you. You know, why are you participating in it? Is it important to you?
Yes, it's important to the point where when I go, and we're all going, and we're approaching that age where we can go anytime, that the memories that I have and the memorabilia that I have will probably be trashed, and nobody will remember. You'll have passed by this way, and nobody will know what you did.
And so you participating in this project gives the opportunity for...
You know, I made a revisit trip to Korea last November, and I was awed by it. And when I came back home, I said, yes, I think I did make a difference. And I think everybody that was over there made a difference.
How so?
How so? I think South Korea was born. The South Koreans had a country, and they were born like we had our country at Revolution, July 4th, Independence Day. I think that's when they've done so much over there. I'm totally amazed at how far they've gone in such a short period of time. When I was there, I think there was one bridge over the Han River. Now they have 27. And they're not Mickey Mouse bridges. They light them up at night. They're proud of them, and I can see why.
Yeah. And so you feel that the American presence
in the country... I do. I think that's one country that was really helped out by us. Yeah.
And so you were able to see firsthand how the country has changed. I'd like if you could maybe let us know what your impressions were like when you saw Korea while you were over there previously, and then when you returned. What was the difference like?
The difference? I think we had a Secretary of State, Mitchell, who said it's the wrong war in the wrong place and at the wrong time. And I thought that country was the right place to have the showdown with the Chinese or whatever, because there was nothing there. In North Korea, there's nothing there. It's all mountains, for crying out loud. What they had in the South was nothing. They've come so far in such a short time. It's unreal.
It must have been amazing to see.
It was amazing, and when I saw Seoul, we talk about Camelot on the hill, the shining city on the hill. That's it. When I looked at that city and saw that, I said, wow.
Did you get a chance to see Seoul before?
No, I was stationed probably 5-6 miles out of, no, it wasn't even that far, out of the Kimpo airfield at Incheon, because we flew. That was my mission, to fly. And air cargo drops. And I was probably about 6 miles from Seoul. Never got in there to see it. I saw pictures of it after they took it, and it was nothing but a mud hole.
That's what the pictures I've seen, just buildings.
It was terrible. Single-story buildings left. That's it. Yeah. And now when I see 20 million people live in Seoul, it's unreal.
You're looking at pictures. This isn't the Seoul.
Nothing was the same. Kimpo was just a little tiny airstrip, and I was totally blown away by the size of the airport there.
Did you get a chance to interact with Koreans while you were over there and kind of talk about?
We talked to one at the Korean War Museum that they have there. And I was standing in they had a hall, and they had these bronze plaques, and they were all had a state over the top of it. And I looked, I was standing by New York and had all the dead military.
American military.
American, that kind of grabbed me, that they did that.
Because a lot of times countries will just focus on their own soldiers.
That's right. Yeah, it was amazing.
But it gives you an idea of how much it meant to them that it wasn't.
And I noticed that they're so they acknowledge you over there when once they know that you were in the military over there. They acknowledge you, and they're and that's all I needed, to see people thanking us for something. Usually people want to go home, Americans. Okay, no, I was impressed.
And did you witness that amount of I don't know, thankfulness from Americans also, or is it just kind of a Korean?
It's a Korean thing.
Yeah.
It's a Korean thing. They bow to you and so forth. Always bowing. And it was kind of embarrassing because when I look back, I only did what I was trained for. I enlisted. I wasn't a draftee. I enlisted, and I just did what we were supposed to do.
All right, so let's go back to that. Why did you enlist? What were you doing before?
I was going no place. I realized my family didn't have the money to send me to college, and I'd taken a college entrance course. And where was that going to take me? I don't know. I could have gone in the factory, but I really didn't like factory work. It was kind of humdrum. I did go in the factory for a little bit, and as soon as I had a layoff, I never went back. I said, I don't want that stuff. But I enlisted.
Why did you choose the military then?
Why? Because a lot of us were doing that after high school. And the fact that I joined the Marine Corps was because my dad was a Marine. He's probably one of the oldest guys other than the officers, and he was only a PFC. I think he was 36 years old at Iwo Jima. Most of the people were my age, 18, 19, 20. And I didn't even think of the Army or the Navy. Navy didn't. I think I was on more ships than a lot of Navy personnel. I was on 7 ships in my tour in the Marine Corps, and I disliked every one of them. I just don't like the water that much.
Yeah.
And, you're kind of captive out there, and every day I'd come up on deck and look for land, and it's not there.
Find it. So you go back down until the next time you think you might see land. So did your father encourage you to join the Marines?
No. I came home one day and told them. I had gotten into trouble. I'll put it out on the line. I'd gotten into trouble. I was on probation for 3 years. Okay. And I kind of wanted to get off of that because I had restrictions. Today they don't have restrictions. I had to be home at a certain time. I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, and so forth. So I knew I was going to get in trouble if I didn't do something. So first thing I did, I told my probation officer, I said, Mr. Murphy, how would it be if I joined the Marines? And he was happier than the sun of me. He said, that'd be a good idea, Bob.
Give you some discipline.
I think so, yeah. Well, I was giving him a hard time anyways. I had to show up every Friday at a certain time, and I had missed about 3 of them. And he was not happy. He was kind of angry when he said, "You're lucky you came in. I was going to put out a warrant for you." Okay, so and that's when I said, "How would it be if I joined the military?"
And you had been thinking about it before you told him?
Yeah, because a friend of mine that I got in trouble with, he went into the Army and eventually went into the Airborne, and he himself couldn't wait to help because they held the Airborne back, and he didn't go over there to be held back, and he asked for a transfer into a rifle platoon. So, what was it like when you actually enlisted in the Marine Corps during boot camp? Boot camp, pardon the expression, I thought it was hell on earth.
Well, they have to train you.
Huh?
They have to train you.
I know, but it's an ungodly hour in the morning you get up.
Yeah.
And you're so tired all day long. You so used to being, take a break. They say take a break, you'd fall on the, we call it the deck, okay, and try to get a couple snoozes in. And I can lay back now because of that there and fall asleep. And even when you're in Korea, when sometimes on some of those night patrols, when they were trying to figure out where you were going, I'd fall asleep, and until they tell me to move out.
So you're training the quick naps.
Yeah, quick nap. Yeah, get them when you can.
So when did you actually learn that you were going to be dispatched to Korea?
Okay. It was on a weekend. It was a Saturday or Sunday, and I come into the squad bay, and I heard a cheer go up. I said, "What the heck's going on?" He says, "We're at war with Korea."
So you actually enlisted before there was any.
Right. Yeah. So now this was good because peacetime for the military is boring. Okay, very boring. And these fellows were happy that they were going to do what they were trained for. It was something to do. Yeah. Needless to say, I saw people that once they got the taste of war, that they wished they weren't there. I myself wished I wasn't there. You know, I would have given up years of my life to get out of there at certain stages because it was so bad and cold. Nobody knows what cold is except somebody that's been there.
I've heard that a lot from various veterans through these interviews.
Yeah.
You're walking around in 4 feet deep snow, or people getting frostbite on their toes and fingers.
And I did. Yeah.
So maybe you could talk about the difficulties. You know, I was, you know, the reason why we kind of go from before to during the war is because we try to get an impression of what you're thinking. You know, what your level of fear is like when you learn that you're going to Korea. A lot of Marines, like you said, are excited to start fighting, but there must be some kind of imminent fear that you're actually going to go into battle, and this is a reality.
Fear, yeah. There is fear. And if you can't get a hold of yourself, I saw one fellow that was the clown, the joker of the platoon. He was always happy-go-lucky, telling jokes, doing, you know what I mean? And I saw him freeze right up as soon as they started shooting. And they the corpsman had to take him away, and actually somebody had to knock him down because he was just standing up frozen solid. He just couldn't move. But I was also in a line company. It's a rifle company, and I had a sergeant was my squad leader from Syracuse. He came in, and I had another young fellow. His name was Smith. I don't even know his first name. Smith was a youngster. I think he couldn't have been any more than 18 or 19. He even looked younger than me. And I was leading him up a hill, and I says, "Just stay behind me. Just let me know you're there." That's all. And he plodded along.
So what rank were you when you were over there?
I was a corporal. I made corporal over there, and most of the people in the company, my company, which was Fox Company that I dropped to, were corporals, and they were squad leaders. I don't remember seeing many sergeants over there at all.
I haven't talked to many.
Huh?
Haven't talked to many.
And yeah, we were all corporals. And I guess it was because we went in 49 and 48, and we were regulars, that we had seniority in corporals, and we automatically became squad leaders, which I really didn't want the job because I was an air delivery man. I was used to cargo. pushing cargo out of a C-47, okay? And when I went into line company, I told the lieutenant, I says, I can't handle a squad. It's 12 more people. I says, 3 people I can handle, but not 12. He says, I'll help you out as much as I can. And he did. And he made me fairly good. He made me that way.
Marines freezing up, or the fact that a lot of them needed that extra push or the leadership.
They do. When I became squad leader, yes. You look back and somebody they're hanging back a little bit, and you got to say, let's go, let's go. You're yelling, let's go. And the quicker that you get someplace, I think I saved myself and 5 other guys' lives because we made it to a point where we were safe.
Yeah, and people underestimate that aspect of it. Just
right.
Getting from one point to another.
Yeah, and it was nothing to do with my mentality of getting there. I just figured, well, and you talk about fear, that was fear. Okay, I saw 42 guys go down so fast, and then they called. I was in a reserve position at the time. Then they called 3rd platoon to send a squad up there to help them out, and that was my squad. And I said, oh my God, I'm going to die on this hill. Let's see how far up I can get. How far can I get before I get hit? Well, I didn't get hit, and I survived that one there. And
why do you think you didn't get hit?
I don't know. In the right place at the right time all the time. Okay.
Maybe it's because I guess you relied on your training and
I don't know. I don't think it was that at all. No, I don't.
So there's a little bit of luck for everything.
I think so. I think so. So by the time we found the safe area and the lieutenant sent somebody over on their belly to say, move to the right and hook up with us, and that's what we did. And this lieutenant, who was, like I said, 20 years old at the time, led the charge over a hill. We scaled that hill, and we took it. My 6 guys, me and 5 other guys, and he had brought up about 6 people. So we scaled it, and as soon as we made the top of the hill, they started running. They couldn't believe it,
So.
And he charged over there without a weapon that was working. I remember he had a carbine that didn't work. It jammed, right. So he says, give me a grenade. And we only had about 5 grenades. When we went over that hill in assault, he was going to send the grenadiers up to throw the grenades, and we were going to charge over. And he became one of the grenadiers, but he charged over with the rifle guys.
I guess you do whatever you have to do.
I said, that man should get a Silver Star for taking that hill, because without him, we wouldn't have taken it. He was the push to have us do it.
And when you see actions like that, it makes everyone else rise to the occasion.
Yes, it did. He did. And he got a Silver Star for that, too. Later, I was able to, I ran into his brother, who went to Rochester Institute of Technology, married a local girl. They were from Long Island, okay, and he come in my store. I've got a dry cleaning store out in Fairmount, and I said, geez, you look familiar. And then I looked at his ticket, and it was Buckman. I said, I was in the service with the Buckman. He says, Robert? I says, yes. He said, that was my brother.
That is a small world.
It sure is. Well, his mom and dad come up, and his dad was a printer down there, and he had one of these cards that you get in the gum, war cards. And it was his son getting his first Silver Star. He said he happened to pick it up and to proof it, and there it was. He didn't even know he was printing his son.
And that's when you learned that he got the Silver Star?
Yes.
So you, for all these years, you thought that he deserved it.
Right.
And then you found out he actually got it.
When he led his troops out on a patrol the last time, before he got killed, he got a second Silver Star.
So he was
He
good
was
in action?
he was great, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was always there, giving orders, not giving orders per se, I mean, he was just there to put his people in position, and he would be in position with them. And that's what happened. He was in the midst of everything. And his CEO was always telling him, the captain was always telling him, he says, I don't want you to be the point man. But he thought he should be there because if he could see what was going on, then he could do things.
Mm-hmm. Does that play a role in the fear that you have yourself, based on the responsibility you have over other people's lives also, and not just your own life?
Oh, absolutely. It changed me when I became squad leader. It changed me immediately. Okay, I for one thing, I was more interested in the people and making sure that they weren't nervous and so forth and so on. I would walk back. I said, just keep moving, don't stand still, just keep moving. When they were sniping at us before we moved up the hill. And I used to tell them, I said, if they hit you at this long range, it's not going to kill you anyways.
Right.
And it made me easier, okay.
Mm-hmm.
First firefight I ever got in, I think I urinated in my pants. I really did when I could feel those rounds coming close to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was running across one of those rice paddies over there.
Mm-hmm.
But that was my first encounter. So, and that's a fearful moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I felt like I was running in slow motion. And the rice paddy is flat. There's no cover. And I was trying to get some cover real fast, and it felt like slow motion all the time.
So, as the war progressed, did you feel that you were getting more and more confident and less fearful of?
No, there was a time there just before I got rotated home that I says, they can send me to prison for 20 years. Just get me out of here. Because I was starting to get very antsy. After a while, you get antsy about the whole.
Takes its toll.
Yeah.
So, do you think that was the most difficult part of the war? Is after a while it just building up and getting more anxious and?
I think so. Yeah. Because we were constantly out there facing the enemy from January of '51 till I left, and they were still up there. I run into some of the guys that were there. I said, how much? We'd already been on the line for 38 days. That takes your toll, too. Eating nothing but sea rations. And I says, how long were you back up there? Oh, we didn't come back for another 42 days. That's 80 days facing weapons every day.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah. Yeah, and they had a tough time after I left. They had quite a tough time.
So why did you rotate out of that company? Just because your time was up? Or?
I rotated out of Korea. I came home. I'd had my 9 months in, and it seemed like 10 years.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
What did you have an opportunity to fight with or interact with Korean soldiers or other U.S. troops?
I think at one time for a few days we had some ROKs tied in with us. But we never stayed on a hill that long. Most of the time we went up a hill, came down the next morning, went up another hill.
Yeah. So you never really were fighting alongside them for
No,
an extended period of time?
we were tied at the end there. We were tied in May of '51. We tied in with some Dutchmen, and loved those guys. They were older than we were. I would say they were all mid-20s and seemed to be professionals. Okay, and they loved to go out at night. That's it. I said, you can go out at night all you want. I'll sleep good.
Yeah. I guess they needed something to take their mind off.
Oh, they were good at what they did. Yeah, they liked it. Yeah.
Did you get a chance to kind of spend some downtime with them at all, or
No,
anyone else?
no.
It was just.
No, like I said, my little crowd was my squad, basically.
You stayed with them.
Yeah.
How about when you weren't necessarily fighting, did you get a chance to interact with Korean civilians that were, if you were stationed near a village and you happened to go to your village?
No. Only at Mason. When we came down from the I got to see if I can pronounce it, Changchun Reservoir. They like Changchun. I guess that's Korean for chosen. I think chosen is the Chinese word for the reservoir, right?
Joseon was ancient Korea.
Oh, they don't like to use that. They call it the Changchun Reservoir now.
Changchun?
Yeah.
For China or for Korea?
For Korea.
For Korea?
Yeah. So I try to say it, but I'm used to chosen, Chosin. But when we came back out of the North Country, we had to regroup because we were decimated. I mean, we were totally decimated, and we came down to Mason, and we set up there until we were supposed to get reserves in, and. Then a lot of people that were in supply and support volunteered to go into rifle companies because they were asked to, and that's when I went into Fox Company, which is a rifle company. I left Air Delivery, and I'm so proud of Air Delivery for what they did. They dropped tons and tons of small arms ammunition and gas.
So is that the main way that the
That's right. They could not get supplies up at the reservoir any other way. The roads were blocked. The Chinese had blocked the roads, So that's how they got it in. And then you took weapons and small arms off of the dead Chinese after.
So you wouldn't run out of ammo.
Yeah.
What was the happiest part of being over there?
The happiest part?
The happiest moment?
I gotta believe I rotated home. The lieutenant called me up and said, you and my guy that went in Fox Company with me, and it's a story in itself, Al Keen, are going to be rotated home. Okay, at such and such a time, you're to go down the bottom of the hill, a reverse slope. There will be a 6x there. That's a big truck. And they'll take you back to a small airstrip where you'll be flown down to Mason. And he says, we're going out on patrol, so you don't have to go. You stay back.
I bet you were happy about that.
I was happy about that, yeah. And while we were doing something, that one thing I feel bad about was I didn't get to say goodbye to anybody because all of a sudden they went out on patrol. They were gone, and then we went down the hill.
So it's like a bittersweet separation.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
How was that? Like, leaving to go home, but then.
And there, you know darn well that there's some people there that should have been rotated home too. If it wasn't for Al Keen, I don't know when I would have gotten rotated home because he claims that we should have been gone out of there 2 rotations ago. Okay, and he finally went to the captain and said, gave him the story that we were the oldest troops there, and we were supposed to get rotated home. That's how I come home.
So I guess you might have been pretty grateful to him.
Al, we talk regularly. He lives in Arizona today. He lived in Montana and near Billings, and I lost contact with him because we both came home and got stationed at Barstow in the desert where it was 100 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, that was terrible. Oh, yeah. And I says, why do you live in Montana? I says, it's one big rock. He says, yeah, but it's beautiful in the fall and in the spring, when everything turns colors. So I tried to get a hold of him. I wrote him a letter, got no answer, and I tried to find him before computers. and I couldn't. So then I had my neighbor who was retired. He was SSI or sick from some, so he was on his computer all the time. I said, see if you can find this guy. Well, he found his brother, so I called the brother. He says, hey, I'll move to Seattle. So I called him up. I said, what'd you move to Seattle for? He says, he says, after the first winter, I realized I couldn't take him anymore. So, and now he lives in just outside of Tucson, Arizona.
Well, that's quite a difference from Montana to Seattle to Tucson.
Yeah, yeah, and he's just the reverse of me. My hands aren't too bad. I can't feel.
Because of the frostbite?
Yeah, but they don't hurt me that much unless I really put something cold in my hand. And his are like Raynaud's disease, okay, the vessels constrict and he gets real pain.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's my feet. And, but anyways, we picked up on each other. Now, I don't know whether people could visualize a squad tent. A squad tent is a tent that holds 13 guys maybe 20 at some time. But we had the whole company in there when we mustered in there to report the Fox Company. The whole company was there.
How many people is a company? 30?
Oh, no. A platoon is 42. There's 3 platoons to a company. So that's
a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. And we were sleeping on the ground. I don't think we were made to sleep on the ground. Even the Koreans have a great engineering thing. They heat the floors of their house in the wintertime. Mm-hmm. That's how they stay. That's why they sleep on the floor. Mm-hmm. I thought that was kind of a great idea. Yeah,
I'm surprised you guys didn't incorporate that.
We didn't have buildings. Yeah. we didn't have no buildings. Yeah. We slept in holes that we could. In a lot of cases, they were something we just leveled out. Mm-hmm. We didn't dig a foxhole that was deep, because we were never going to be there that long, and you couldn't dig in those mountains anyways. I remember one time I just wrapped myself around a little sapling tree so I wouldn't roll down the hill.
Oh yeah.
But
so let's talk about rotating home. Were you discharged when you got home? Or
no.
You still had...
No, I was stationed at, they give you these little yellow cards, choice of duty station, okay? So I says, okay, there's a place up here by Schenectady that a Marine Corps has, there's an ammo depot. I said, I'd like to go there. So I put down, I think they call it Scotia, New York. And I know I won't get that, you never do. So I says, nobody wants to go to the 2nd Marine Division in Lejeune. Okay, nobody wants to go there. So, because now you're back in division.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever. But anyways, if you're going to come back, you'd want to go to Washington. You want to go to, if you were going to go to division, maybe you'd go to Pendleton, El Toro. You know, you go where the liberty is good. Let me put it that way. Liberty. Well, this was close to home, and I'd been away too long, and I didn't want that anymore. So I got neither one of them. They sent me to Barstow, and I didn't want to be at Barstow either.
Where's that?
It was a big railroad yard where trains passed through there, and they'd switch, and they probably did a lot of repairs there. Big railroad yard. It was like Albany's got now. We used to have it up here in North Syracuse, and then they took it up to Albany, I guess, or Schenectady. And I was so disappointed. I went to the captain and I says, I want to go back to Korea.
Did he send you?
No. No, he was a big man. He was a captain, and he had been a prisoner of war in the Second World War. He was captured on one of the islands. And he was an imposing figure when he stood up and pounded the desk and said, "You're all alike. You can't stand stateside duty." Okay, and I guess he was right. Mm-hmm. It's a whole different perspective when you're out in the field amongst people and so forth. You're interacting with your people. And, yeah, that was a whole different thing.
Was that one of the hard things that you had to deal with when you were adjusting to civilian life?
I realize now, they asked me when I go to the VA about post-traumatic stress disorder. I says, yes, I did. I think I had it. When I look back at my life. Okay. And I says, it's too late for any fixing now. And I says, I don't think you can really fix it. And I don't think you can fix it.
Perhaps talking about it, though, helps.
Well, you can, you can't, you can only talk with somebody that can identify. And I never joined anything until I was in my 60s. And I joined, I run into a fellow by the name of Fran Ezzo. He's in the barber shop, and the barber said, this guy was a Marine, he was in Korea. I said, oh yeah, what outfit? And he told me.
I interviewed him yesterday.
So we could identify, okay? And we would talk and so forth and so on. And he said, why don't you join the Korean War Veterans Association? So I did. And you run into people and you talk. I think you can only talk with people that can identify there. I could not talk with my father. Okay, he never told me about Iwo Jima.
Even though he was in the Marine Corps, it was still this...
He could only identify with the people at Iwo Jima. Now, I had a grandfather that was in the Spanish-American War, and I stopped to see him one time when I saw him on the porch, and I says, how we doing today, and so forth and so on. I thought he was old. Of course, he was younger than I am now. And after we said those little how are you, and we're good, and so forth, it was quiet. And he says, how'd you get your supplies up the hill? And he took me back, and I says, well, like magic, I wanted to say like mad, I wanted to be flipped. They were there every morning, and then we'd get rations and ammo and so forth. But they conscripted people, the locals, to bring them up, and they would pay them. And he says, we use mules. Okay, and I said, wow. And he was with Teddy Roosevelt.
That's amazing.
And I'm sorry that I didn't pick his brain many, many years before that. He was a step-grandfather, and I don't think we treated him right as a blood relative, you know what I mean? And I know his stepdaughters didn't treat him well. And I talked to him, and he was telling me about when he was down in Coney Island. He was a busboy down there, and the singing waiter was Jimmy Durante. I can do some of that too. I was 16 years old, went to New York and saw Pearl Bailey. She was just starting out. She was in between movies, okay? They used to bring a big band out, and some people, Bojangles Robinson, the soft shoe dancer there, he was old then. Went down to 42nd Street where the musicians used to start out, and we caught an afternoon gig there, and it was Dizzy Gillespie just starting out.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So I'm getting old. I've arrived at that point. But he had so much to tell that old man, and God, I just wish I'd talked to him before.
So do you kind of use that experience, with your own family? Like maybe you're.
My son is in awe because he's gone to several reunions, okay, and he's in awe when we get together. Like I had him at a 1st Marine Division reunion out in San Diego. He lives in San Diego. And I said, how would you like to go to the banquet, Stu? He says, good, yes. Well, he sat there and he had a great time talking with the troops, okay. He says, I like that. And then we had a general speaking, and he was impressed with the general. I think the run-of-the-mill people don't know the military that well, okay. The military that I saw in Korea, unreal, okay. They are so got it together. I'm so proud of them. I can't say enough. And when you go and you look at all these old men who were once 18, 19 years old, and they're the ones that have survived, and so many didn't. Thank God for them.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that you said, you kind of wish you picked your step-grandfather's mind a little bit more. And I think a lot of grandchildren and children, they want to know about what their fathers or their mothers did. But, it's a lot of, even just talking with the veterans that come here, it's kind of hard to...
I got one from my grandson. Okay, he says, did you shoot anybody?
That's the first question of grandchildren.
And I didn't know how to answer that, and then finally I looked at him, I smiled, and I said, I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, they left it alone, okay. I tried to get my daughter joined the Air Force. She said her worst decision was when she got out to get married. She wished she'd stayed in. My other daughter would have nothing to do with it. Wish she would have nothing to even ask her boys, and she had to think about a military career.
Mm-hmm.
No way. Okay, she's one of those people. So it's a whole different thing. It's a whole.
Did you ever want to talk about your experience to your family, or were you just kind of?
I probably should have, but I didn't. No, because they, being as young as they were and so forth, they couldn't understand. What did you do? Well, I flew over the mountains and dropped ammunition.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the stories that you've been telling today are exactly what people want to know. I mean, as a civilian myself, I have no idea what went on over there, or the experience that you went through, but the images that you paint are great, and I think it's important that people do understand what happened.
Well, most of them left New York State right after school, and they went. I got one in San Diego, one in Idaho, and one in Colorado. She understands because one in Colorado because she was in the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad life. It's not a bad career.
Mm-hmm.
And you get out when you're... My brother spent 20 years in the Marine Corps. He was never in harm's way.
Yeah.
He was in food service, and he learned a lot. They sent him to Chicago to learn how to grade meat. Went out to the canning factories to see how it was done there. He was in Vietnam, and when they blew up the staff club at Da Nang, where he worked, he was in Saigon going to bartender school. So he lucked out there. That's the only time he was ever in harm's way, was when he was in Vietnam. But all he had to do was perimeter watch now and then. That was it. But he got a great job, a great education. And he was, his last job was the San Antonio school system. He procured all the food for it. Yeah, a great job.
So what did you learn?
What did I learn?
Yes.
Not very much. And it took me a long time to realize that I did do something that was helpful. Not till later years, really. But I think most military who have been in harm's way have a psychological disorder. If they don't, they're
in denial, perhaps?
I saw cargo. The biggest ship that we had, airship, was C-119. And I saw that at Hung Nam, stacked with frozen, dead bodies. I mean stacked. That was a huge ship at the time. And that never leaves me. There are a lot of things that never leave me.
it hard to
Right.
think about that?
What's that?
Is it hard to think about that?
I can't help myself from not thinking about it. That's probably not a couple of days that don't go by that something set it off, or I talk with a military guy and I remember. I do a lot of I'm in dry cleaning and I do the blues for the burial details that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm happy to have that exchange with them. They are young, they are smart. If they're not smart, they're at least intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
But they're good troops. We have some good troops. And the Army's the same way. We got some good troops.
How do you feel the response that they receive when they come home nowadays, soldiers and the Marines that come home? What do you think the difference is?
I don't think they get any response. When we came home, we didn't. There was nothing. We landed in Treasure Island. They had some of the wounded in wheelchairs and so forth from the VA. They had a little band for us, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
No fanfare. I really didn't want one anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got a big one when I was in Korea. It was unreal. Unreal. We went up to one base there. Actually, it was at the base that the president was a surprise speaker. He came in. He was over there, and he came in and talked. And those troops there, they lined the sidewalk as we departed the buses, and they were right there, give us the high fives. Yeah.
Well, your presence there is responsible for that military being able to exist.
What's that?
Your presence over there is, partly responsible for that military over there being able to exist and give you high fives.
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to say that.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to say that. We have a lot of troops over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, have your perspectives on life changed at all? How do you feel? What's your outlook on life now? Is it?
Mine?
Yeah.
I feel kind of sorry the way the country's going, our country, and I hope we can get back on track.
Mm-hmm.
I hope the people can be. I don't want to say too much, but I think they're too self-centered.
Americans?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They are obnoxious drivers as far as I'm concerned. Let me put it this way. When I was in Korea, if I was younger, I might move over there. I really thought about that. I see opportunities over there, especially in my line. People were actually wearing clothes over there, okay? The girls were dressed stunningly, and they needed a dry cleaner.
Your business could do something.
Huh?
The business you have could...
Yeah, because we don't have nothing. I was talking to a fellow the other day. He says, the farmers dress better than the people now.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that's a good way to put it, because I say the people are getting ready to go into the barn because that's the way they dress. We have no class anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you look at the TV shows, the talk shows like Hannity, did you ever see Hannity when he's exposed? He's got sneakers on, he's got jeans on, he's got his white shirt, tie, and sport coat.
I don't watch Hannity.
He's a little bit too far, yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think the legacy is that the Korean War veterans will leave behind?
Legacy? I know that we've become part of the South Koreans' history. This country, I don't think they care.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they care. They don't care about their military.
And that should be changed. What should we do? How does that...
The civilians in this country need a wake-up call. They really do, and I don't know what it's going to be to do that. Okay, but they don't like the military, from what I see. I've asked the question. I says, Joe, I says, that's one of my workers. I says, you don't like the military, do you? He says, no.
It's interesting, because my opinion is that I think people do have a lot of respect and reverence for the military, but they don't necessarily agree with what the government has the military doing.
Well, I don't agree. This is what I don't agree. I don't agree on what the government makes the military do. Rules of engagement. Okay. Forget it. When the adrenaline is flowing because somebody's out there coming at you with a rifle and you've got to call back to get permission to fire, and they say, no, you wait till he points his weapon at you, this is no way to go. No way to go. I'll say something off the record to you after we're gone. And it was a necessary thing. Remind me.
So, I just actually have one more question for you anyway.
Right.
I'm wondering for, as we're sitting here, people are going to watch your interview on the website when we put it up in the project. So I'm wondering if you could perhaps provide the people, the future generations of children and people who are going to do research, if you could provide them with a message or two.
The message is to get make it not illegal, okay, to sing patriotic songs or the Pledge of Allegiance or anything like that. I had a Jewish teacher one time, may I say her name? Is Mrs. Shapiro. I'll never forget her. 5th grade or 6th grade? Of 6th grade, because I was going to go to junior high the next time up, and she was getting us ready. Pledge of Allegiance every morning. Then she had this big old book here, and she'd open it up and read a passage out of it. That book was the Old Testament. And it's full of how you should live. That's a guide on how to live. And then she'd give us a personal hygiene tip. Okay, if you can't brush your teeth after you eat, go rinse your mouth out and spit it out. Save your teeth. That's a teacher. Do we have them today? This will interest you. For 3 years, my daughter wouldn't talk to me because I asked her what 17% of 100 was. Oh, you're trying to embarrass. No, I'm not trying to embarrass you, Linda. She's 50-some years old, pushing 60. I'm just trying to prove a point. So, didn't work. And I asked that question to my workers at work. 17% of 100. I asked a teacher, 17% of 100. No? I went down to Parris Island. I was in Savannah. That's where I was, eating breakfast before I flew back home. And here was this young fellow, and I knew he was bussing tables. He was in high school. I said, what grade you in? He says, 12th grade. I says, you're the man I want to see. This is not a trick question. What's 17% of 100? And he gave me some number, and it was wrong. And I said, I'll make it easy for you. What's 10% of 100? And he, if I had my calculator, I could do it. Well, this went on for 3 years. I asked this question. It is. So, and we're supposed to have one of the better high schools in the county, West Genesee. Okay. I go to Korea, and I've got a young girl that they assigned me, a freshman high school girl, and for the day. We went up to Panmunjom, and I'm talking, getting to know her, and so forth and so on. They go to school all day long. I even think they start earlier than we do. And then they have 4 hours of mandatory homework at night, supervised by mom or dad. It's a little bit tough. It's stressful. Okay. But they are so smart, it's unreal. I said, I'd like to pose this question to you if you can. I said, what's 17% of 100? And she laughed. There's a girlfriend that was on the other side of the bus with another friend of mine. So what are you laughing about? They were using their own native tongue, of course, okay? So I didn't know what she was. And she started laughing. So I looked at her. I said, well, what's 17 of 100? And she said, 17.
Mhm.
I said, you're the first person that's answered that question in 3 years.
And you shouldn't have to wait that long to find the answer like that.
No.
Yeah.
No. So I don't know. I'm just, those little girls were something else too. Cute, happy.
That's good. Well, Mr. Duffy, I appreciate you coming.
It was nice
and
talking to
sitting
you.
with us. It was
Yeah.
great listening.